Have you ever wondered what separates the people who build generational wealth from those who work their entire lives and have very little to show for it? Most people assume the answer is access to the right opportunities, the right connections, or the right amount of starting capital. But Charlie Munger, the legendary investor and longtime business partner of Warren Buffett, believed something entirely different. He believed that the gap between financial success and financial struggle is almost always a thinking problem, not a money problem. And in this video, we are going to explore the most important financial wisdom Charlie Munger ever shared. Wisdom that most people will never encounter because it is never taught in schools, rarely discussed in mainstream financial media, and almost always overlooked by those who need it most. Let's dive in. Number 1. Invert the problem. One of Charlie Munger's most famous principles was borrowed from the great 19th century mathematician Carl Jacobi, who famously advised, "Invert, always invert." What Munger understood, and what most people never apply to their financial lives, is that the fastest path to success is often found not by asking how to get what you want, but by asking how to avoid what you do not want. Munger applied this principle consistently throughout his career. Rather than asking only, "How do I build wealth?" he would ask, "What behaviors will guarantee that I stay financially poor, and how do I make sure I never do those things?" He once said, "Tell me where I am going to die so I will never go there." That is inversion in practice. When applied to personal finance, this thinking is extraordinarily powerful. Most people focus entirely on what they should do with money. They read about the right investments, the right saving strategies, the right financial products. But very few people take the time to systematically identify and eliminate the financial behaviors that are silently working against them, like impulsive spending, lifestyle inflation, emotional investing, and carrying high-interest debt. Munger's lesson is simple. Remove the destructive behaviors first, and the path to wealth becomes significantly clearer. The question worth asking yourself is this: what financial habits, if continued, are quietly guaranteed to keep you from building the wealth you are working toward? Number 2, know your circle of competence. Charlie Munger was one of the most widely read and intellectually curious people in the history of business. He studied mathematics, physics, psychology, history, and economics, not because he needed to, but because he believed that broad knowledge made him a better thinker and a better investor. Yet despite this extraordinary breadth of knowledge, Munger was absolutely disciplined about staying within what he called his circle of competence. Munger believed that most financial mistakes are not made from a lack of information, they are made because people act outside the boundaries of what they genuinely understand. They invest in industries they do not comprehend. They start businesses in markets they have not studied. They make financial decisions based on the opinions of others rather than their own careful analysis. His advice was direct: figure out what you know deeply and honestly and stay within that boundary. As Munger famously said, knowing what you don't know is more useful than being brilliant. This is a principle that applies directly to your personal finances. Before committing money to any investment, financial product, or business opportunity, every individual must ask themselves honestly, do I genuinely understand this well enough to risk my resources on it? If the answer is no, Munger's wisdom is clear: wait, learn, and only act when the answer is yes. If you are getting value so far, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the Money Mindsets channel. Number 3, patience is a competitive advantage. In a world of instant information, instant transactions, and constant financial noise, Charlie Munger consistently advocated for one of the most underrated wealth-building skills in existence: the ability to wait. Munger and Buffett were famous for their willingness to sit on their hands for extended periods, holding cash and resisting the temptation to act until the right opportunity presented itself at the right price. Munger described this approach as sitting quietly until something appears that is very good. He compared the great investor to a batter in baseball who refuses to swing until they see the pitch they have been waiting for. In personal finance, most people lose significant wealth not from inaction, but from premature action. They buy a home before they are financially ready. They invest in trending assets without fully understanding them. They make career moves driven by impatience rather than strategy. Every one of these decisions is made under the false belief that acting quickly is better than acting correctly. Munger's lesson is this: time spent waiting for the right financial opportunity while building knowledge and preserving resources is not wasted time. It is an investment in the quality of the decisions that follow. Patience, he argued, is one of the few true edges available to ordinary investors because so few people are willing to practice it. Number 4, never stop compounding your knowledge. Charlie Munger was famous for being what he called a learning machine. He read voraciously throughout his entire life, often consuming multiple books per week across disciplines as varied as biology, physics, and ancient history. He believed that knowledge, like money, compounds over time, and that the person who consistently learns more than everyone around them will eventually make better decisions than everyone around them. This principle is critically important for anyone serious about building wealth. Most people treat financial education as a one-time event, a book they read once, a course they took years ago, or a piece of advice they received from a family member. But the financial world is not static. Tax laws change, markets evolve, new wealth-building instruments emerge. The person who stops learning about money is, in practice, falling behind. Munger once observed that in his experience, the people who continuously educate themselves about how money, business, and human behavior work tend to accumulate results that compound just as reliably as a well-structured investment portfolio. He said, "I have known no wise person over a broad subject who did not read all the time." The implication for anyone watching this video is direct. Reading, studying, and learning about personal finance and wealth psychology is not a hobby. It is one of the highest return investments available to any individual at any income level. Number 5, never interrupt compounding. Of all the financial principles Charlie Munger championed throughout his life, none was more central to his philosophy than the power of compounding and the critical importance of never interrupting it. Compounding is the process by which money grows exponentially over time when returns are reinvested rather than withdrawn. Albert Einstein reportedly called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. Charlie Munger understood this deeply, and more importantly, he understood that the greatest threat to compounding is not a market downturn or a bad investment. The greatest threat is human behavior. People withdraw investments prematurely. They sell during market downturns out of fear. They spend money that should be growing because of lifestyle pressure or financial impatience. Munger's position was clear: once you put money to work in a compounding vehicle, whether that is an investment account, a business, or any other appreciating asset, the single most valuable thing you can often do is nothing. Do not touch it. Do not move it. Do not reallocate it every time the market shifts or a new opportunity appears to be more exciting. Allow compounding to do what it does best, which is to create extraordinary results over long periods of time, almost invisibly. According to research by Fidelity Investments, some of the best-performing individual investment accounts in their database belong to customers who had either forgotten they had the accounts or had passed away. The common factor in both cases was that no one had interrupted the compounding process. So there you have it, 5 of the most powerful wealth lessons ever shared by Charlie Munger. Invert the problem, identify the behaviors guaranteed to keep you poor and eliminate them first. Know your circle of competence, and never commit your resources beyond what you genuinely understand. Practice patience as a competitive advantage, because waiting for the right opportunity is itself a financial strategy. Never stop compounding your knowledge, because learning and wealth accumulation follow the same exponential curve. And never interrupt compounding, because time in the market, time in the business, and time in the asset will almost always outperform timing the market. Charlie Munger lived his principles for 99 years and left behind a legacy that proves beyond any reasonable doubt that these ideas work. The question is not whether they work. The question is whether you are willing to apply them. If you found value in this video, please like this video and subscribe to the Money Mindsets channel. Leave a comment below and tell me which of Charlie Munger's lessons resonated with you the most and which one are you going to apply immediately. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.